The call came during my shift at the bookstore. "Wendy, come home now. Your sister's been in a terrible accident." My mother's voice crackled with hysteria, and my heart dropped into my stomach. I knocked over a stack of romance novels as I grabbed my bag, barely remembering to tell my manager I had a family emergency. I'm Wendy, and that day changed everything. Not because of what actually happened, but because of what didn't happen. I burst through our front door 20 minutes later, chest heaving, expecting to find ambulances, tears, maybe blood. Instead, I heard giggling from the living room. Savannah sat cross-legged on the couch, scrolling through her phone, face perfectly intact. "Oh my God, did you literally run here?" She smirked, not even looking up. "Mum's being dramatic. Elliot just bumped my car at the mall, like, barely." Mum rushed in from the kitchen. "Honey, thank goodness you're here. It was horrible. Savannah could have been killed." I stared at my sister's unmarked face, then at my mother's mascara-streaked cheeks. "She looks fine to me." "The trauma isn't always visible, Wendy," Mum snapped. "We're taking her to see specialists tomorrow." That was 3 weeks ago. Today, I'm standing in front of an ATM, staring at my account balance in disbelief. The screen mockingly displays $127.42. Last month, it showed $32,191.65. My entire college fund, 5 years of summer jobs, birthday money, and overtime shifts. Gone. "There must be some mistake," I muttered, jabbing at the buttons to refresh the screen. Same numbers. My hands started shaking. I called my father first. "Dad, something's wrong with my account. All my money's gone." Silence. Then, "Come home, Wendy. We need to talk." I found them both in the kitchen. Mum was stress cleaning the counters, and Dad wouldn't meet my eyes. "Where's my money?" My voice came out smaller than I intended. Mum's scrubbing intensified. "We had to use it for Savannah's emergency surgery. The insurance wouldn't cover everything, and you know how important this was for her recovery." "What surgery? She wasn't even hurt." "The accident left her with severe facial trauma," Mum insisted. "The specialist said immediate intervention was crucial. She was on Instagram an hour after the accident, posting selfies." Dad finally spoke up. "Wendy, your sister needed this. Sometimes families have to make sacrifices." "My sacrifices! My money!" I could feel tears burning behind my eyes. "I worked every summer since freshman year for that fund. You promised it was untouchable." "Don't be selfish," Mum hissed. "Savannah could have been disfigured. What kind of sister are you?" "The kind who actually got hurt," I whispered. Savannah chose that moment to float in, wearing her new crop top and looking absolutely untraumatized. "Why is everyone yelling?" "Your sister is being dramatic about the money we needed for your surgery," Mum said, shooting me a warning look. "Oh my God, Wendy, it's just money." Savannah rolled her eyes. "You can always make more. My face is like, literally, my future." I stormed upstairs, slamming my door so hard the family photos rattled. Through the wall, I could hear Savannah's phone chiming with notifications, probably more likes on her latest post. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept calculating the hours I'd worked, the birthdays I'd saved through, the Christmas money from Grandma, all gone for what? I got up around midnight to get some water. That's when I saw it sitting on the kitchen counter, a medical bill that Mum had forgotten to put away. I shouldn't have looked, but I did. Patient, Savannah Ramirez procedure, elective rhinoplasty. Date, 6/15/2023, not reconstruction, not trauma repair, a nose job. The paper crumpled in my fist as 5 years of being the responsible one, the understanding sister, the good daughter, crystallized into something hard and cold in my chest. They hadn't just stolen my money, they'd stolen my future, my dreams, my chance at college. Also, Savannah could get the nose she'd been whining about since she was 14. I smoothed out the paper and took a photo with my phone. Then I put it back exactly where I found it, went upstairs, and opened my laptop. My hands weren't shaking anymore as I started searching for insurance fraud reporting procedures. If they wanted to play with money that wasn't theirs, fine, but they were about to learn that quiet daughters don't always stay quiet, and some debts demand repayment. "Girl, this is insane," Chloe said, squinting at her laptop screen. We were huddled in the back corner of the public library, where the security cameras had a blind spot. "The police report from your sister's accident is public record. Want to see it?" I leaned in closer. "Show me everything." "Okay, so according to this, it happened at 2:47 p.m. in the mall parking lot. Low-speed collision, estimated under 5 pm/km. Single point of impact on front bumper. No injuries reported at scene." Chloe looked up at me. "That's it. That's literally it." "No injuries reported," I repeated slowly. "But my mother screamed about severe facial trauma." "Your mum's always been dramatic, but this is next level." Chloe started typing again. "Let me check something else. When did they file the insurance claim?" 3 days after. I remember because Mum was on the phone all morning with them. Chloe's fingers flew across the keyboard. "I'm in my dad's insurance database. Don't ask how I have his password." She paused. "Oh, wow. Wendy, they claimed over 40,000 in damages and medical expenses for a parking lot bump." My stomach churned. Keep digging. "Wait. There's another claim from 2 years ago. Similar pattern, minor incident, massive payout. That time it was for Savannah's emergency dental work after she supposedly fell at dance practice." The memory hit me like a slap. That was right after I'd been accepted to the prestigious summer science program at MIT, the one I couldn't attend because money was tight that year. "I need copies of everything," I said. "Already downloading? But Wendy," Chloe hesitated, "this is serious fraud. If you report them, they'll deserve what they get." That evening, Mum insisted on a family dinner, probably to remind everyone how normal and perfect we were. I pushed my food around while Savannah dominated the conversation. "My followers are obsessed with my new look," she gushed. "This one influencer even messaged me about a possible collab." "That's wonderful, sweetie," Mum beamed. "The surgery was absolutely worth it, and it was so easy to push the insurance through when you word things a certain way." My phone was already recording in my pocket. I looked up innocently. "What do you mean, Mum?" "Oh, you know," she waved her hand vaguely. "Insurance companies always try to lowball you. You just have to know how to present things." "Like calling a nose job facial reconstruction?" The words slipped out before I could stop them. The table went silent. Dad's fork clattered against his plate. "Wendy," Mum's voice turned sharp, "we've discussed this. Your sister needed medical intervention after her trauma." "Right, the trauma that didn't exist." "Stop being such a jealous freak," Savannah snapped. "Just because you're boring and basic doesn't mean—" "Savannah," Dad warned, but I was already standing up. "You know what's funny?" I said, my voice deadly calm. "I found my old acceptance letter to that science camp yesterday, the one I couldn't go to because we couldn't afford it. Guess that money went to Savannah's mysterious dental emergency instead." Mum's face paled slightly. "That was different. Your sister needed it more." "Yeah, I know. She always does." I walked to the door, then turned back. "By the way, I recorded this whole conversation. Just thought you should know." The look of panic that flashed across my mother's face was worth every missed opportunity, every stolen dream. Later that night, my phone buzzed with a text from Chloe. "Got something else? Your sister's boyfriend, Elliot, just posted old pics from the day of the accident. Check his Instagram story." There it was, Savannah and Elliot at the mall food court, timestamped 3:30 p.m., less than an hour after the supposed traumatic collision. She was laughing, face perfectly fine, showing off some shopping bags. I saved the screenshots adding them to my growing collection of evidence. Then I noticed something in my email, a notification about a new claim submission on our family insurance policy. Using Mom's birthday as the password, she used it for everything, I logged in. There it was. They were trying to file another claim, this time backdating medical expenses from before the accident. My hands shook as I took screenshots of everything. They weren't just lying about one claim, they were building a whole false narrative, probably to justify the massive payout they'd already received. A new text from Chloe lit up my phone. Holy shit! Just found out my dad's insurance company has a zero-tolerance fraud policy. One proven false claim, and they investigate everything from the past 5 years. You sure you want to do this? I looked at my empty college fund account, then at the growing folder of evidence on my laptop. Yes, I typed back. It's time they learned that Karma accepts receipts. The burner phone felt heavy in my pocket as I sat in the back corner of the library, connecting to their public Wi-Fi. Chloe watched nervously from the next table, pretending to study. I dialed the insurance fraud hotline number. Insurance Integrity Division. How may I direct your call? My heart pounded, but my voice stayed steady. I'd like to report a fraudulent claim. One moment while I transfer you to an investigator. A deeper voice came on the line. This is Investigator Hopkins. What would you like to report? I took a deep breath. I have evidence of multiple fraudulent insurance claims involving staged accidents and falsified medical procedures. Can you provide specific details? A recent car accident on June 15th was inflated from a minor parking lot bump into a major collision with severe injuries. I have police reports, social media posts, and medical bills proving the claimed facial reconstruction was actually elective cosmetic surgery. And you have documentation to support this? Yes, including recorded conversations about intentionally misleading insurance adjusters and evidence of a pattern of similar false claims. 20 minutes later, I walked out of the library with shaking hands. Chloe hurried after me. Did you really just do that? It's done. I dropped the burner phone into a trash can. Now we wait. Wendy, Chloe grabbed my arm. Your sister just posted something. You need to see this. She held up her phone. There was Savannah posing in perfect lighting, her new nose front and center. The caption read, "Sometimes accidents are blessings in disguise. Shy glow up, shy new me, shy, blessed." The comments were flooding in. OMG, what happened? You're so brave. That must have been so traumatic. And Savannah's replies, the accident was terrifying, but I'm stronger now. Thank God for amazing doctors and insurance. Beauty comes from overcoming trauma. She's really milking this, Chloe muttered. Screenshot everything, I said. Every post, every comment, timestamps especially. That evening, Mum was hosting her monthly book club. I could hear them in the living room, wine glasses clinking. Patricia, your daughter is so inspiring, one of her friends gushed. Overcoming such a horrible accident. Yes, we're so blessed, Mum replied. The doctors said if we'd waited even a day longer for surgery, the damage could have been permanent. I walked past with my laptop, loud enough for them to hear my typing. Oh, Wendy, Mum called out. Come tell everyone about how brave your sister was after the accident. I paused in the doorway. Which version should I tell? The real one or the one you reported to insurance? The room went silent. Mum's smile froze. Sweetie, you're confused, she said through clenched teeth. Why don't you go study? You're right. I should focus on my future. Oh, wait. I turned to her friends. Did you know my college fund paid for Savannah's nose job? I didn't wait for a response, just walked upstairs listening to the uncomfortable murmurs below. Later that night, Savannah barged into my room. Why are you being such a psycho? She demanded. Mum's friends were totally weird after you left. Do you have any idea how hard this has been for me? Hard? I looked up from my laptop. Getting exactly what you wanted was hard. You don't understand. My old nose was literally ruining my life. And now, she gestured to her face, I'm finally getting noticed. Real brands want to work with me. Built on lies. Why do you care? It's not like you were doing anything important with that money anyway. You were just going to waste it on some boring college. I turned back to my screen. Get out of my room. God, you're such a jealous bit. The mail slot downstairs clattered, cutting her off. We heard Mum's sharp intake of breath, then, Calvin, come here now. I walked to the top of the stairs. Mum stood holding a thick envelope marked Insurance Integrity Division, Urgent Notice. What is that? Savannah asked. Mum's hands shook as she tore it open. Her face went white as she read. They're investigating our claims, she whispered. All of them. They want documentation, interviews. She looked up at me. Someone reported us for fraud. The accusation in her eyes met my blank stare. Maybe, I said quietly, they just want to hear the real story. I went back to my room and closed the door, but not before hearing Mum's frantic whisper to Dad. If this gets out, we'll lose everything. I opened my evidence folder on my laptop and smiled. That's the point. Investigator Hopkins arrived at exactly 9 a.m. on a Tuesday. I was sitting on the stairs, sipping chamomile tea, watching Mum frantically straighten the already straight living room. Mrs. Ramirez. His voice was calm but firm. I'm Ralph Hopkins from the Insurance Integrity Division. We spoke on the phone. Yes, please come in. Mum's customer service smile was plastered on. My husband will be joining us shortly. I caught Hopkins' eye as he entered. His gaze lingered on me for a moment before he followed Mum to the dining room. Dad appeared from his home office, looking like he hadn't slept in days. Now, Hopkins began, spreading documents across our dining table. Let's discuss the accident from June 15th. It was terrible, Mum jumped in. My daughter could have been killed. According to the police report, Hopkins consulted his papers, it was a low-speed collision in a parking lot. No injuries reported at scene. The trauma wasn't immediately apparent, Dad said quickly. I see. Hopkins pulled out his tablet. Yet your daughter posted this selfie 43 minutes after the accident, caption reading, Mall Hall with Bay, no visible injuries. Mum's smile cracked slightly. The damage was internal, which is why you claimed emergency reconstructive surgery. Hopkins raised an eyebrow. I have the medical records here. The procedure performed was elective rhinoplasty. The doctors recommended, Mum started. I have the surgical consultation notes, Hopkins cut in, dated 3 months before the accident. Your daughter was already planning this surgery. The silence was delicious. I took another sip of tea. Savannah! Mum suddenly called upstairs. Come down, please. My sister appeared, looking confused until she saw Hopkins. Her face went pale. Myth. Hopkins turned to her. Could you explain these social media posts? You claimed severe facial trauma, yet your own Instagram shows you at a party the night of the accident. I was being brave, Savannah stammered. And these messages to your followers about your accident recovery journey, dated before the actual accident. Mum stood up sharply. I think we should have our lawyer present. That's your right, Hopkins nodded. But I should inform you that we're also investigating the claim from 2021, the dental work after the dance incident. Dad's hands started shaking. That was different. Was it? Hopkins pulled out more papers. Because we have evidence suggesting a pattern of fraudulent claims, multiple incidents where minor events were inflated into major payouts. This is ridiculous, Mum snapped. We're upstanding members of this community. Who stole my college fund? I said quietly from the doorway. Everyone turned to look at me. Mum's face twisted with fury and fear. Wendy, go to your room. College fund? Hopkins asked. It's not relevant, Dad said quickly. Actually, I stepped into the room. It is. They emptied my account, money I earned working since I was 14, to pay for Savannah's nose job, then claimed it was for emergency reconstruction after a fake accident. You little snake, Savannah hissed. Hopkins was writing rapidly in his notebook. Miss, would you be willing to provide a formal statement? No, Mum stood up. This meeting is over. We'll have our lawyer contact you. Very well. Hopkins gathered his papers. But I should warn you, we're expanding this investigation. If we find evidence of coordinated fraud, the consequences could include criminal charges. After he left, Mom rounded on me. What did you tell them? Nothing they couldn't find themselves, I replied. Receipts don't lie, Mom, neither do timestamps. Do you have any idea what you've done? Dad's voice shook. We could lose everything. I already did. I turned to leave, then paused. Oh, and Savannah, you might want to delete those posts about your accident recovery journey. Insurance fraud investigators can be really thorough about social media evidence. I went upstairs to my room, but I could still hear Mom on the phone. Nicole, it's Patricia. Everything's falling apart. If this leaks, if people find out. Oh, God, what do I do? My Aunt Nicole's voice carried faintly through the speaker. Maybe you should have thought about that before stealing your daughter's future. I opened my laptop and checked my email. There was a new message from Hopkins requesting a formal interview. Below that was another from the community college I'd applied to as a backup, asking about my financial aid application. My phone buzzed with a text from Chloe. Holy shit! My dad just said your family's case is becoming a huge deal at the insurance company. They're talking about making an example of repeat offenders. I typed back, good. Another text came through, this time from Savannah. I hope you're happy. You've ruined everything. I looked at my empty bank account one more time, then at the growing stack of evidence on my desk. No, I whispered. You did that all by yourself. From downstairs, I could hear Mum crying on the phone. The sound should have made me feel guilty. Instead, it felt like justice. Aunt Nicole arrived like a storm, her heels clicking against our driveway as she marched to the front door. I watched from my window as Mum tried to block her entry. Not now, Nicole. Move, Patricia. Nicole pushed past her. Where's my niece? Which one? Mum's voice was bitter. The traitor or the victim? The only victim I see is the one whose future you stole. Nicole spotted me on the stairs. Wendy, grab your jacket. We're getting coffee. Mum stepped forward. She's not going anywhere. We need to present a united front for the investigation. United front? Nicole laughed sharply. Like when you presented a united front about Dad's inheritance? How'd that work out? Mum went white. That was different, was it? Because it looks like the same Patricia to me. Always taking what isn't yours. Always justifying it. 10 minutes later, I was sitting across from Nicole at the local diner, watching her dump sugar into her coffee. Your mother pulled this same stuff when we were kids, she said. Always manipulating situations, always making herself the victim. When our dad died, she convinced everyone I was too unstable to handle my share of the inheritance. Sound familiar? She said you were going through a rough time. I was in medical school working my arse off. Nicole stirred her coffee aggressively. She told the lawyers I was having a breakdown. Next thing I knew, my portion went to her. For safekeeping, never saw a dime. A text lit up my phone. Savannah. Mum's crying because of you. Again, hope you're proud of yourself. Nicole glanced at the message. Your sister's just like her, isn't she? Same talent for twisting things. I didn't want it to be like this, I admitted. I just wanted... justice? Nicole reached across the table, squeezed my hand. Sometimes justice looks ugly up close. When we got home, 2 more investigators were in our living room. Mum sat rigid on the couch while Dad paced. "Mrs. Ramirez," one was saying, "we've uncovered evidence suggesting coordinated fraud across multiple claims. This goes beyond the recent incident." "My daughter needed medical care." "Your daughter needed a nose job," the other investigator cut in, "which you funded by draining your other daughter's college account, then committed insurance fraud to cover it up." I started to slip upstairs, but Savannah blocked my path. "Why do you hate me so much?" Her voice cracked. "What did I ever do to you?" I looked at my sister, really looked at her. Perfect nose, perfect hair, perfect life, built on lies and stolen dreams. "You never had to earn anything," I said quietly. "Everything was just given to you. My college fund. I worked every summer since freshman year. But you just had to cry to Mum about your nose and poof, my future gone." "It wasn't like that." "Then what was it like? Explain it to me. Explain how your nose job was worth more than my education." Tears spilled down her cheeks. "You don't understand how hard it is being me. No, you don't understand how hard it is being everyone else. We all have dreams, Savannah. We all have things we want. But some of us actually work for them instead of stealing them." "I didn't steal. You knew where the money came from. You knew it was wrong. But you didn't care because you never have to care. That's why I hate you." The investigators appeared in the hallway. "Miss, we'd like to ask you some questions about the previous insurance claims." Savannah's face crumpled. "Mum, they can't. I didn't." "Actually," one investigator said, "we're considering fraud charges against all involved parties, including you, Miss Ramirez." Mum rushed to Savannah's side. "She's just a child. She didn't know." "These text messages suggest otherwise." The investigator held up a document. "You and your daughter explicitly discussed fabricating accident details." Nicole stepped forward. "I'm a lawyer. Before anyone answers questions, I suggest." "You have no right to be here," Mum snapped. "Actually," I said, "she's the only one who does." The second investigator cleared his throat. "We'll need statements from everyone. And Mrs. Ramirez, your insurance company has already begun proceedings to recover all fraudulent payments, with penalties." Mum sank onto the stairs, her perfect world crumbling. Dad had stopped pacing and stood staring out the window, shoulders slumped. Savannah looked at me one last time, mascara streaking her cheeks. "I hope you're happy now." I watched the investigators lead my sister into the dining room for questioning, Nicole following close behind. "Not happy," I whispered. "Just finally heard." The letter arrived on a Thursday morning. Mum's hands trembled as she opened it. Then she sank into a kitchen chair. $47,000, she whispered. "They want $47,000 in fines and repayment, plus potential criminal charges." Dad grabbed the letter. "There must be some mistake." "The mistake," I said from the doorway, "was thinking you'd get away with it." "Wendy," Dad turned to me, his voice desperate. "Please, you have to help us. Tell them it was all a misunderstanding." "Like how my empty bank account was a misunderstanding." Mum stood up suddenly. "I raised you better than this vindictive streak." "You raised me to be quiet and convenient," I cut in. "How's that working out?" The doorbell rang. Elliot, Savannah's boyfriend, stood there looking uncomfortable. "Is Savannah home? She's not answering my texts." "She's meeting with our lawyer," Mum said stiffly. "Oh." He shifted awkwardly. "Well, could you give her this? It's her stuff from my car." He handed over a small box. After he left, I noticed something fall from the box, a folded paper. I picked it up and my heart stopped. It was a printed conversation between Savannah and Mom, dated before the accident. Savannah: "Elliot agreed to bump my car, TMRW, just a tiny hit." Mum: "Perfect. Remember what we discussed. Immediate pain, hold your face, mention dizziness." Savannah: Insurance will cover the nose job. Mum, they won't have a choice. Just stick to the story. My hands shook as I took photos of the messages. Upstairs, I could hear Savannah crying on the phone. Elliot, please, I can explain everything. Hello? Hello? She came downstairs later, eyes red. He broke up with me, said he can't date someone who's being investigated for fraud. This is all your fault. Actually, I held up my phone with the screenshots. It's yours. Planning accidents for insurance payouts? That's next level, even for you. Her face went pale. Where did you get that? Then Elliot dropped off your stuff. Guess he kept receipts too. Mum overheard and rushed over. Give me that phone. Too late. I stepped back. It's already backed up and forwarded to Investigator Hopkins. You little... Mum lunged for me, but Dad held her back. Patricia, stop. This isn't helping. Nothing helps, she screamed. Our reputation is ruined. We're facing charges, and it's all because our own daughter betrayed us. No, I said calmly. It's because you got caught. There's a difference. My phone buzzed. A text from Elliot. Found more screenshots between Savannah and your mum. Planning other accidents too. Want them? You've destroyed this family, Savannah sobbed. You know what's funny? I looked at my sister. You could have just asked me. If you'd come to me and said you really wanted this surgery, maybe we could have split my college fund, shared it like actual sisters. But you and Mum had to scheme and steal instead. Dad approached me, his voice low. Wendy, please, the hearing is next week. If you just tell them you were mistaken. I already gave them everything I had, I said. And thanks to Elliot, they're about to get more. Mum collapsed onto the couch. They're talking about pressing charges against Savannah too. My baby could go to jail. Should have thought about that before making her your accomplice. The doorbell rang again. This time it was Hopkins with another investigator. Mrs. Ramirez, he said grimly, we've received new evidence suggesting premeditated insurance fraud. We'll need you and your daughter to come with us for formal questioning. Mum started crying. Savannah looked like she might faint. What kind of new evidence? Dad asked weakly. Text messages planning staged accidents, Hopkins replied. Multiple incidents, coordinated deception. This changes everything. I watched from the stairs as they led my mother and sister out to their car. Dad stood in the doorway, looking lost. Was it worth it? He asked me quietly. Destroying your own family? I thought about all the times I'd stayed quiet, all the dreams I'd sacrificed, all the lies I'd watched them tell. You know what's funny, Dad? You keep saying I destroyed the family. But a real family doesn't steal from each other. A real family doesn't plan accidents and commit fraud. You and Mom did this. I just exposed it. My phone buzzed again. Elliot had sent the screenshots. Pages of evidence showing Mum and Savannah planning multiple fake accidents, coordinating stories, discussing insurance payouts. I forwarded everything to Hopkins with one message. Here's the truth you've been looking for. Then I blocked Savannah's number, turned off my phone, and went to pack my bags. Aunt Nicole had offered me her spare room until I figured out my next move. Sometimes burning bridges lights the way forward. The courtroom was smaller than I expected. Mum and Savannah sat at the defendant's table, both wearing conservative outfits that screamed good Christian family. Dad slumped in the gallery behind them. I sat with Aunt Nicole on the opposite side. The state presents evidence of systematic insurance fraud, the prosecutor announced, spanning multiple incidents over 2 years. On the projector screen, their text messages appeared. Remember to cry when the police come. Make sure to delete these messages after. We can use Wendy's college fund to cover what insurance won't pay. Mum stared straight ahead. Savannah wiped tears that looked practiced. The prosecutor continued. Furthermore, we have evidence of the defendants planning staged accidents for financial gain. Elliot took the stand next. He looked different in a suit. Yes, they asked me to deliberately cause a minor collision, he he testified. Savannah said it was the only way to get insurance to pay for her surgery. Savannah's sob echoed through the courtroom. It sounded hollow. During the recess, Dad approached me in the hallway. "Your mother lost her job," he said quietly. "The PR firm said they can't have someone under investigation for fraud handling client accounts. That's unfortunate. I've been suspended too, pending internal review." He ran a hand through his greying hair. "We might lose the house." "Maybe Savannah can influence her way into a new one," I replied. Back in session, the evidence kept mounting. Photos of Savannah at parties the night of her traumatic accident, bank statements showing the transfer of my college fund, insurance claims filled with lies. The judge's verdict was clear: guilty on all counts. "Given the premeditated nature of these crimes," she announced, "I'm imposing the maximum financial penalties. Additionally, Mrs. Ramirez will serve 6 months house arrest. Miss Ramirez, given your age and cooperation, you'll receive 2 years probation and community service." Mum's perfect mask finally cracked. But we're respected members of this community." "Not anymore," the judge replied. Outside the courthouse, reporters waited with cameras. Mum covered her face, but Savannah, ever the influencer, tried to pose. "Don't," Nicole snapped at her. "For once in your life, show some dignity." My phone buzzed. It was an email from Savannah's biggest brand partnership. "Given recent events, we're terminating all collaboration agreements effective immediately. Our brand cannot be associated with criminal activity." I forwarded it to Savannah without comment. That night, scrolling through local news, I saw the headlines: "Local family convicted in insurance fraud scheme." "Mother-daughter duo planned fake accidents for profit." "College fund stolen for fraudulent cosmetic surgery." Mum's carefully curated reputation was in shambles. Her social circle had evaporated. The country club quietly revoked their membership. Chloe called while I was packing my room at Nicole's. "Girl, you won't believe this. Remember that scholarship essay you wrote about resilience and standing up for truth?" "Yeah?" "The Community College Selection Committee loved it. They're offering you a partial scholarship." I sat down hard on my bed. "How much?" "12,000. Not enough for a full ride, but it's something," I whispered. "It's a start." Later, a text from an unknown number. "Hey, it's Elliot. Thought you should know. Savannah's been telling people you framed her. Nobody believes her, though. The evidence was too clear." I blocked his number too. That evening, Nicole found me on her balcony. "Your mum called," she said, "begging me to convince you to help them appeal." "And?" "I told her she lost the right to ask you for anything when she stole your future." Nicole handed me a glass of wine. "You know, I've waited 20 years to see Patricia face consequences. How does it feel?" I thought about my empty bank account, about the scholarship that wouldn't cover even half of what was stolen, about the family photos I'd packed away. "Not as good as I thought it would," I admitted, "but not as bad either." "Justice rarely feels clean," Nicole said, "but that doesn't make it wrong." My phone lit up with a Facebook notification. Mum had posted, "Some betrayals ruin more than just trust. They destroy families. Remember that before you choose revenge over love." I showed Nicole, who snorted, "Still playing victim. Some people never learn." "No," I said, blocking Mum's profile. But I did. The sun was setting over the city. Somewhere across town, Mum was starting her house arrest. Savannah was probably crying over her lost influencer deals. Dad was likely staring at bills they couldn't pay. And me? I was finally free. Not rich, not whole, but free. I picked up my acceptance letter from the community college and smiled. Sometimes you have to lose everything to find out what you're really worth. The moving truck pulled away from Nicole's house as I balanced my laptop on a box, finishing my latest blog post. The piece about family fraud and stolen futures had gone viral, catching the attention of a small publishing house. My phone buzzed. A text from Dad. "Your mother's house arrest ends tomorrow. She wants to see you." I deleted it without responding. Chloe barged in, waving her phone. "Have you seen this? Savannah's trying to rebrand herself as a redemption journey influencer." I looked at the post she showed me. Savannah, makeup-free, staring soulfully at the camera. Learning from my mistakes, growth isn't always pretty. Authenticity, journey, real talk. "At least she's admitting they were mistakes," I said. "Oh, wait till you see the comments." Chloe scrolled down. "People are roasting her. Someone linked your blog post about the fraud." Nicole appeared in the doorway. "Speaking of your blog, check your email." I opened my inbox to find a message from the publishing house. "Your story resonates with thousands who've experienced family betrayal. We'd like to discuss a book deal." "Holy shit," Chloe whispered, reading over my shoulder. "Language," Nicole smiled, "but also, yes, holy shit indeed." The doorbell rang. I opened it to find Savannah standing there, looking smaller without her usual perfect styling. "Can we talk?" I stepped onto the porch, leaving the door open so Chloe and Nicole could hear. "Make it quick." "I lost everything," Savannah said. "My followers, my brand deals, my reputation." "You lost things you never earned," she flinched. "Mum's different now. The house arrest, it broke something in her. She actually apologized to me yesterday. First time ever." "Good for her." "She wants to apologize to you too." Savannah pulled out her phone. "Look at this text she sent me. I destroyed our family with my pride and lies. Your sister deserved better. Funny how prison time brings out the honesty in people." "I'm trying to make it right," Savannah's voice cracked. "I got a real job. I'm paying back the restitution. I even—" She swallowed hard. "I started therapy." I studied my sister's face. The perfect nose that cost me my dreams, but behind it, for the first time, I saw something real. Fear, regret, maybe even growth. "Good," I said finally. "Keep working on yourself, but not for me. I'm done being your audience." "The book deal's confirmed," Nicole called from inside. "They're offering an advance." Savannah's eyes widened. "You're writing a book? About us? About truth? About consequences? About what happens when the quiet ones finally speak up? Will you—" She hesitated. "Will you destroy us all over again?" "You did that yourselves. I'm just telling the story." My phone buzzed with another email. The community college offering me a work-study position in their writing centre. Between that, the scholarship, and now the book advance, I could finally see a path forward. "Wendy?" Savannah's voice was small. "I really am sorry, not just for getting caught, for everything." I looked at my sister, really looked at her. The designer clothes were gone, replaced by simple jeans and a t-shirt. The practiced poses forgotten. Maybe prison wasn't the only thing that could break someone into truth. "I know," I said, "but sorry doesn't fund college." "No," she reached into her bag, "but this might help." She handed me an envelope. Inside was a cashier's check, her first 3 paychecks combined. "It's not much, but I'm going to keep paying you back, every month." I stared at the check. It was barely a fraction of what they'd taken, but it was earned. Real. "Keep it," I said. "Put it toward your therapy." Chloe appeared with a box of my writing supplies. "Ready to set up your new office?" I turned back to Savannah. "Good luck with your redemption journey. I mean that. But my journey is taking me somewhere else." She nodded, understanding finally reaching her eyes. "Your blog post. You were right. Still water runs deep. And Karma," I added, "accepts payment plans." I watched her walk away, then went inside to my new beginning. My laptop waited with a blank document open, the first page of my book. I typed the title, "The Price of Silence," A story of truth, theft, and taking back your voice. Nicole squeezed my shoulder. Ready? I looked around at my boxes, my future, my truth waiting to be told. They always taught me to be quiet, I said, fingers hovering over the keyboard. Time to make some noise.